Hello, everybody, LinkedIn family, Twitch family. If my son jumps on and says hello, we know that's a problem because he's supposed to be in school, as well as YouTube family. This is a really special show. If you'll notice, there's no branding in the corner because this is my transition show. So I'm having a very special pop-up lunchtime live with a very special guest. But this is neither Living with Annie nor the Soul Center Experience. This is the bridge, the gap filler, the transition show. So I brought on a very special friend and guest, Miss Laura Staley. So I'm going to bring her in. Hi, love.
Hi, Annie.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you too.
So I was, as you heard me just now, I was explaining that I am Living with Annie has come to an end, or sort of, we're evolving to the next step or stage of life. And that is the Soul Center Experience live show. And you happen to fall, because I did this strategically, you happen to fall right in the middle of when we're transitioning to the other one. So I wanted to do a pop-up with you because I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people, and you are one of the most beautiful souls that I've ever come in contact with, as far as like someone that I see you so clearly. Right when I put you on the screen, I see you. And that's how we sort of just bonded over the pandemic when we talked, and you sent me your books. And I see you, so you're just a beautiful soul. So I'm so happy that you're here with me to go over this bridge with me to the Soul Center Experience. And I appreciate you being here.
Oh, and thank you so much. And thank you for those kind words. I'm clearly touched by that.
Oh, thank you so much. So tell me, Laura,
gratitude.
You're just so sweet. Tell me about you. Tell me about like a little bit about what you've been up to. I mean, I could say a bio, but I like when people kind of describe themselves and where they are at this moment. It just makes it really more authentic to me.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Where I am at this moment is just, utter gratitude, a great deal of quiet in my mind. There's been a lot that I've lived through in my life,
Nice.
but right now I'm actually staying with my daughter and getting to time with her. That is so precious. She's grown adult, and I'll get to see my son and meet his girlfriend in just a couple days. I reconnected with my sister just 3 days ago, which as you can tell, was really
that's incredible.
Beautiful. So in the wake of both of our parents passing, I've been astonished, honestly, by the kindness and the extension of that, apologies and forgiveness and recognitions of dynamics that, my siblings have basically been blind to for years. And my sister, honestly, was the first person kind of in the container who was like, wow, that all really went down like it went down.
Yeah.
And I was incredibly grateful. So we went on a hike in the woods. I got to meet with her and her husband, my brother-in-law, after years of, she welcomed me into her home, and we laughed, we talked, we connected. It was incredibly meaningful. And she even got excited about the cicada holes. The 17-year cicada is coming.
Wow. There
was this moment, right? Like, oh my gosh, she's a nature girl too. And it's kind of like getting to know my sister all over again. And the kind of, bittersweet is that her husband, after 5 years of all kinds of testing and different things that have gone on with his body that she's been tracking and he's been tracking too, they finally have, as best as the doctors in the medical community can, have discerned that he's got a very rare degenerative brain disease, and probably, and they don't know, but probably 2 good years of life. They met in high school. They've been married, 4 children, a grandchild, another grandchild on the way, and so it's a memory I will treasure because I no longer live in Central Ohio, and there's lots of beloved ones here. So honestly,
so where are you now?
Hi, Jill.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm in Central Ohio. I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now.
Okay.
Even though I have lived for 3 years in Black Mountain, North Carolina, which is in western North Carolina, the most gorgeous place, soul. It's my soul home.
I remember talking to you, and behind you was all like forest. Like it was green. Yeah, I remember that so clearly. Right. It was beautiful. And you're just like, I'm very zen here. It's very fun.
I know, right? So I'm in the urban flatlands right now for this podcast. But yes, that is, I'm in North Carolina. I'm up on the side of a mountain. So yeah, I guess grateful still isn't a big enough word, Annie.
I know that feeling when it's just overflowing with, it's gratitude, but sometimes that word is thrown around a lot and it doesn't really do it justice with what you're feeling in your heart and soul. And God, I understand that so much. So I feel you on every level. I wonder if people watching are like, what is wrong with these two? Because I'm like, I feel you on like I just feel your energy. So, and I felt that when we first met. So I'm so happy to hear that you guys reunited and that it was beautiful. And that's what life is about, right? I mean, that's life and love and what it means to be alive.
Oh, absolutely. And I continue to allow myself to be a priority and to allow good experiences into my heart and kindness. Because it's so interesting. It makes me think of, how Brene Brown talks about foreboding, I can't even say the word, foreboding joy, kind of like, because I know I'll speak for myself. I've been so conditioned, right? For, when's the shoe going to come flying across the room with poo on it and hit me in the head, Yep. So it's not just the other shoe. It's come flying right at my head, Yeah. And of course I know how to adapt and shift and Tai Chi and respond to those difficult challenges. But it's like this whole other thing to like give and receive the goodness from a really open heart, knowing I've gained like mastery in blocking. Yes. Surviving, thriving through, challenge, and yet, wow, kind of like, what do I do with the abundance of love and goodness and kindness that, continues to flow back and forth and to literally soften my heart and let the tears flow of gratitude and love. And it's a whole other thing.
Wow. You really are. You're defining what allowing is, I believe. I mean, you're just describing exactly. And what's so funny is, I don't know if you've heard any of our stuff, but Mike Paterano and I have co-developed this program that I'm rolling out with my clients and in some private exclusive groups for men and for women separately, called the Breath Framework. And B stands for begin. R is reclaim your power. E is excavate your core values. A is allow. T is through, as in you can't go around, you have to go through. And H is heal. So I'm just like listening to you, just a piece of your journey, and thinking about how you traveled through all of those letters so beautifully, and now you're in healing. And it's what you're feeling, that overflow, is that's fulfillment, that's wholeness.
Exactly. And I just, I think for me, that cultivating, so has it been 6 or 7 years? I fully committed, like I had been dabbling in meditation. I was like, oh, this is cool. And, and I always felt better when I, did a meditation, and of course the mind just blah, 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 blah. And a lot of work, right? A lot of other work, reading and working with gifted healers and therapists and body workers on trauma, etc. But this consciousness, the awakened, what I love calling inner quiet Charlotte, is kind of like, wow, it's so cool to go into that place of the witness consciousness and go, I'm an experiencer. Like I know I'm holding my hands like this right now, right? Yeah. But it's like I'm watching my hands, and I'm hearing the words coming out of my mouth. But it's kind of like, okay, yes, I have this packaging and I have this mind and I have these thoughts, but I'm not any of those things. I'm the one who's watching the thoughts. I'm the one who's looking at you. I'm the, like the I is like that back seat of the soul that's witnessing all of it.
And that's your wonderment in it. That's what your wonderment.
It's just kind of like, whoa.
It's like a rush, totally. And people will watch and they'll just be like, I don't know if I could ever get there, but believe me, you can get to this place that Laura's in right now, and that sort of in ways that I'm in, where it's just this wonderment. I don't know how else to put it except for just fulfilled wonderment, where you're just in awe of who you've become and how far you've come through all the struggles and pain and healing.
Very, very much so. Yeah. Awe and wonder, gratitude, love. I guess I would describe it. And I don't know about you, Annie, but kind of like that inner world is so rich. We can be so busy trying to kind of, out here control and tweak and bling up the outer world. But what I found is like, wow, going inside myself and cultivating, you talked about those core values, what you really, really care about, and
what matters to you.
Align with that. So if it's passion, or if it's courage, or if it's kindness, or if it's strength, or whatever it is for another person. I mean, I've identified many for myself: empathy, right? Badassery. That's a word, I don't know. But vulnerability, honesty, there's so many, right? And to go about kind of like decorating your inner world, and and anchoring those qualities inside, that nothing outside of you, no matter what anybody says, they say, oh, you're a purple pig. And you're like, yeah, no, I'm a woman.
That's what I call bulletproof. I call that bulletproof. I feel like that's what you're feeling right now. Like you've gotten to a place where, and what's so interesting, Laura, is in another way, in another part of your world, in another life, or in another season, when you go inward, it's nothing like that. Oftentimes when you go inward, it's you're shying away, you're pulling back, you're withdrawing. But this is a different go inward. This is an introspection that's a whole other plane of this experience. But going inward is oftentimes people's go-to when they're feeling uncomfortable in some way. And I feel like this is your experience in healing in your journey, and you're actually going inward to go outward in a way.
Oh, very much so. Well, and I've been doing it for a lifetime. I mean, it was kind of like, I think I was just a walking coping mechanism. Just like I had all these coping mechanisms, right? And who was I really? But like as a child growing up with all the chaos, right? In many containers, not just my parents' home, out in nature, I was like, oh, and then that inner world. It was these places of respite. So it was almost like the strategy to go within helped me cope and survive.
Yeah, of course, self-preservation.
And you're right. It is very different because when you're in fight, flight, freeze, mostly freeze, or disassociation, or,
all of that,
right? Going to the imagination, going to songs and music that you love. I mean, you just like start looking for all the lifelines and the contrasts, right? Because there were the characters, the people, they're not characters, the genuine human beings that did show up as lifelines, even in my childhood, my Grandma Hope, my Aunt Barb, there were individuals that when I was in their energy field, it was like, oh, right? So, and I struggled to let my guard down completely, but I was like, oh, that energy, right? That's like who I want to be and who I want to hang with, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting when you talk about, hi, Brad, how you doing? I'm so happy to see you. When you talk about, thanks for everybody for popping on too. When you talk about just journeys and that we've just have such paralleled lives in ways, and now we're both in this really amazing place. And it doesn't mean there aren't things that go wrong or there aren't troubles in your life. It's just the way that you handle it is different. I just come from this like such a soul-centered place now that it feels much more steady, much more anchored, like you said, than many other times in my life. It just really feels like, and that breath framework mirrors exactly sort of what I've been through. And that's part of why I can, empathize and relate to so many people that are like, yes, that's just like my journey. So
Right.
Laura, tell me about your book. I want to tell the audience about your book.
Oh, so my third book. Yeah, my third book is Live Inspired. It's personal essays with the wisdom I've gleaned along the way. And it's a book about self-discovery at its core, and then wishes at the end of each essay, wishes for the reader. And then there are 8 poems that came out of my heart and soul. And it honestly is just a gift to people to know that they're not alone, right? Because I'm very honest about my travels, right? And my struggles and my, stupid
your path,
the crud that happens in life from, falling off my ladder because I had put it upside down. I put the, squidgy guys in the bottom. I had the plastic, slippery ones on my patio. Like, what was I thinking? Right? But I was, at first I was like so confident, like I can do this. And then I'm like, on my keister. And of course the friend who's like, I know people who have died, falling off ladders. So I'm coming over and I'm hanging up your ladder like really high. So, like my dumb A self had to sit down with my smart A self and my wise self and, all have a conversation. Right. So
of course.
Things like that, so I'm very honest about my own, what do I want to say? My own humanity.
Of course, right? Your path, your life, your world.
Yeah. And then what I learned, so I learned to respond with humor. Right?
Exactly. There's that.
Absolutely laugh at myself and, feel that relief that I didn't kill myself on the ladder and I'm here talking to you today.
Yes.
Right.
And you have to have so much, for lack of a better word, gratitude about that is just, you really have to thank yourself and forgive yourself for going through those things and putting the ladder upside down, right? Just forgiveness. I mean, and Kamakshi says, taking breaks are hard for me, which we've talked about Kamakshi. She's a young, just real entrepreneur, go-getter, but I really need rest as part of my self-care. It's really important. And I would be a liar if I said that was my best quality, my ability to get rest. It's like something I'm constantly working on. It is not my best thing, but it's a work in progress. And I do realize I need to walk away sometimes and breathe and just, be able to say right now, this time is for me. And my business isn't going anywhere. My friends aren't going, my kids are fine. And I can just breathe. It's Annie, it's okay. That's how I talk to myself, it's okay. And I'll eventually calm down, take some breathing exercises, but I calm down and, but what happens to me is I want to just say hi to a couple of people. Hi, Bambi. How are you? I love, she's like, if you don't know her, connect with her because you guys would be on exactly the same page. Hello, Jonathan. Nice to see you. Usama, everybody's saying hi. I know you're trying, Kamakshi. We're both trying. We're going to try this together. We're going to try this together to just give ourselves a break sometimes. Just give ourselves a break sometimes. Because what happens is we become stronger when we do that. We become more full. We become more whole. And it seems like, why didn't I do this before? Why didn't I realize that this half hour in this time slot of the day, when I schedule it, it's just that important to take all 30 minutes for me. That's so hard for me. But I preach it to my clients. I got to do it. I want to walk the walk, talk the talk, so it is scheduling in blocks. Block is important. Yes, we talked about that too, Kamakshi. Very, very important. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on. Nice to meet you. I just loved your book. I loved everything about it. I appreciated you sending it to me after we spoke, and it just meant it was very meaningful. So people pick it up, tell everybody where they can get it.
Live Inspired. You can get it. Sacred Stories Publishing, independent booksellers, and certainly on Amazon and also Barnes and Noble. And I know it's out as an ebook also.
It's very inspiring. It's like a breath of fresh air when you pick it up and read it. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for something that is just, you need to take those couple minutes. Kamakshi, you're a perfect person where it's just like, I just need to step away for 15 minutes and you grab Laura's book, you will be really, really impressed with that. So what else can you tell me about your journey? I mean, when I talk about the breath framework, Laura, like what comes to mind? You've entered this allow and heal and you've done all my steps. It's so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Well, you spoke of the self-nurturing. I was a full-time parent for a bit, and it took me a while to recognize just what you were saying, how essential it is to step back and really care for you. I mean, we hear that and yet literally put it on the schedule. Like put myself
like block your day and put in
my then husband, was on, the house, the laundry, all the chores, all
everything,
life. And to know that I was valuable. I actually was valuable enough to be taken care of, and finding
you were worthy of that,
and taking that time to write, to breathe. And now that my children are grown and I'm a single woman, I have discovered that I absolutely have this practice down. I run every day. I run 6 miles every day. I meditate, and I've been meditating daily at least 20 minutes a day since August 7th of 2014. And wow, what
do you tell me, Laura? Tell me, like, what do you think now we know what the books say, but what is, from your personal opinion, what are the benefits of meditation? What did it do for you?
Oh my gosh. It helped me quiet my mind and drop into my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this part of me that can sit back and watch my show.
Watch your show, which is that's another level.
A lot.
That's another. You've reached another plane. I think once you've really done it for a while, and to reach that point is like almost the ultimate goal. Where you can sit back and watch your show. That's a beautiful way to put it. Kamakshi wanted to know. I just want to say real quick. She wanted to know how to connect with you. Yes, she's on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Connect with, and if you have a problem, just get me and I'll get you guys together. Bill Sherlock said, I don't know anyone on here, but listening to Annie and Laura raises chi levels. Yay! That's what we're trying to do. Appreciate you. Christine, great to see you. She said, love that. Schedule self-care or valuable meditation daily. Yes, quiet your mind to flow your heart. So true. I've never exercised or meditated. I really need to. Yes. Yes.
Well, and know that meditation can take many forms. Like some people walk quietly and they go plant, tree, grass.
Yeah.
Out in nature, right? And that or they've learned Tai Chi, or so that it doesn't have to be, I gotta sit on a cushion. I actually don't sit on a cushion. Yeah. I lay on my back with my legs over a chair.
Oh, really?
I do.
A lot of people are worried. People are worried they're going to do it wrong. So many people are worried.
Right?
And it's like, I just heard somebody say the other day, when your mind starts to wander, because people get upset when they're starting meditation that their mind wanders, but that's part of the meditation. When your mind wanders and you pull it back, that's part of the meditation. That's you meditating. That's you concentrating on just that and bringing it back. So don't be so hard on yourself. And I used to do the same thing where I was like, I can't do that. It's just like, I just can't. I'll never be one of those people that you're not trying to be anyone else. You're just trying to come to center. And you're right. It has amazing long-term effects and some short-term effects, I would say, both.
Yeah. Oh, the health benefits. I mean, there's science now behind all the health benefits, good for the heart, good for the breath, good for physical health, that quieting the mind, the ability, I think it it allows me to respond rather than react.
Yes.
I'm much more responsive to life, and I'm a human being. So I'll have a moment that some spam or something, and I'll be like, or the phone keeps ringing. I'm like, really? but then I can go to that well, I guess my higher self, or inner quiet Charlotte. I like calling it inner quiet Charlotte.
Yes.
Like, notice that. Isn't that interesting? And thank goodness I have a phone. Some people don't have a phone. So I have a phone that's ringing. Right. Well, yay.
Yeah. There's a reason mine's permanently on silent, by the way.
Right.
Permanently on silent.
Oh my God.
I mean, people know better than to call. It's like, if text me, I'll get back. There's something about the phone that just makes me crazy. Like, it makes me, I think it's a trick. I just figured this out, actually. I think this is a trigger for me. Because when it rings, I don't have the ringer on ever. But when it rings, I get instantly like this. And so I realize that that's a trigger. So I put it on silent all the time. And like, if it's an emergency, they'll call back twice and like, I'll get it. But, it's like, I have to just say, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean there's an emergency. It doesn't mean something's wrong, and that's where my head goes. So I have to bring myself back to center just when the phone rings. And that's, me who practices centering and meditation all the time. This is for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's so much right now that can, ping us. Another choice I've made, I think, in terms of the self-nurturing is I'm not under a rock, but I'm basically on a news fast. And that has been transformational.
I bet you it has.
And it's funny because my background, like my education, I earned a PhD in political science. And please, Annie, don't ask me anything about politics because I'm like, I'm peaced out. I will say I care about democracy, but I just, I recognize that I just don't have bandwidth, but what I can do for the world and for myself is bring that energy of love and kindness and joy and peace. And if that is being revolutionary, then I become a revolution. Right? Yes. Laughter, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And
I love that idea. Just suggesting even to someone young like Kamakshi, like maybe turn off the pop-ups, turn off the news for a week, see where it gets you, see if it kind of slows your mind down a little bit. She said, I've been on my laptop 24/7. I'm working on scheduling, taking care, exercising, not only for myself, but for my health. Well, all of that is because you're worth it. You're worthy of that self-care. You have value. And what happens is I am the queen of this, drive yourself into the ground because you're going, and you're not being at all. You're just not being. And life passes you by. So we have to stop and just be. And that's that.
Oh, it's so true. Well, and I actually had a moment where I realized I was running so hard to earn my right to exist. Part of what had happened to me is being scapegoated. I felt I had to prove that I was a good person and that I was lovable, right? And it drove me. I had a driver in me, running the straight A.
I know it.
On the swim team, doing all the family chores, just like, like and earning a PhD, right?
Everything. Let me just, maybe if I do this, I'll be worth it. If I do this, I'll be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And finally somebody will go, yes, you're valuable. Yeah. We see you, and then I think when so much hard came at me, it kind of like hit and blew that whole thing open. Over time. And it was just like, wow. Like I looked back at my childhood, and instead of having this thought that I was a worthless piece of, a bad word, right. I was actually a really good kid. Like I saw myself and that driven, crazed being struggling so hard to earn the affection and love of people that just couldn't give it to me.
Right? You needed it.
You're right. And I stopped chasing after externals and kind of turn that and is back to that turning within and towards those people who actually did hold space. Okay, here comes Laura. Oh, is she gonna land? Oh my God, when she talks, she laughs, she cries. It's 45 minutes, and then she's gonna land the plane. I don't know, And I'm like, I know that about myself. And I'm like, oh God, here she goes. But there were gonna be people in my life who actually had bandwidth for all of who I was.
And you're you, and people do love and accept you, but mostly you love and accept you.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. I would no longer reject myself, and I've been rejected. I've rejected others. I will not betray myself, and I've betrayed, I guess I've broken promises to other people, absolutely. And others have broken promises to me, right?
Sure.
And abandoned. I won't ever abandon myself, Annie. I won't.
I have this quote. My sister told me this quote. I have it on my fridge. It says, I will never, wait, what does it say? It says, I am not alone. I will never leave myself. It's like my favorite 2 sentences. I am not alone. I will never leave myself. And it's true, right? When you get to this point, you're just like, you can all do what you're doing. I'm here and I'm not leaving myself. I'm with myself. And that's a beautiful thing. Laura, you're not even gonna believe this. It's already 12:31. We talked and it went, this is the fastest show, this transition show. You're magic when you talk, and you I love everything that you have to say, and your energy and everything that you're sharing right now, and that you came on and just vulnerably shared was so beautiful. And I appreciate you so much. And there's a couple other, thank you, Nicola, for coming by. Jeff, good to see you. Walking and observing in nature. Bambi said the phone can be a trigger from PTSD. I've experienced that. Time will heal and desensitize. It's been 11 years with introspection. You're magic too, Bambi. You are. I'm so nice to know you. That is beautiful. Those people who have a bandwidth and space for you. Yes. And the most important thing we can end the show on is having bandwidth and space for yourself is what we have come to this peace and fulfillment. Anna Marie is here. Good to see everybody. It was so nice in the middle of the day just to pop on and be with you and share this space with you, and also everybody else that popped on. So I'm going to say bye. Laura, stay. I want to chat with you for just a minute. But guys, this is it. The transition show is over. We've walked over the bridge, and good luck. Have a great day. Everybody, peace.
Thank you.